keeps going up. Hedge against inflation and the downturn in the stock market. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help make an investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you are an SEC-accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call 1-800-278-7455. That's 1-800-278-7455.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Is it time to think about replacing or upgrading your water heater? Menards has the right Richmond water heater to fit your needs and your budget. Choose from electric or gas, tank or tankless models to fit any size home. Find the perfect water heater for your home in stock at Menards and get 11% off all Richmond water heaters. Good through September 5th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you struggling to keep up with your kids, your finances, your insurance, your life? Then let State Farm agent Michelle Kerfin and Homer Glenn help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Michelle Kerfin handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else and more money too. Because adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and actually help you get ahead. Call State Farm agent Michelle Kerfin in Homer Glen and get to a better state with State Farm. Find Michelle online at insurewithmichelle.com.
Love and Light Wellness Spa. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'd like to make an appointment for next week.
Excellent. Does Tuesday 9 a.m. work?
Ooh, mornings are when I go to Taco Bell to get my bacon breakfast quesadilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like missing out on those fluffy eggs and crispy bacon covered in melty cheeses.
Oh, I understand. Let's see what I have in the afternoon.
Namaste.
Try the bacon breakfast quesadilla, only at Taco Bell. Limited participating U.S. Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Contact local store for hours of participation, which vary.
What's better than the long weekend? Kohl's budget-boosting deals on denim. I got myself jeans for $19.99. 40% off Levi's for my son. Even my husband found a pair for 30% off. Plus, because I spent over $25, I got $10 off. And earned Kohl's cash. More style, more savings. Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end September 5th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer, a big live streamer? No? And guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data and unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
Hi, this is State Farm agent John Wright. Every team knows the 2-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
Good evening and welcome to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM, your host, along with the one, the only. Folks, if it wasn't up to me, he'd still be on the concourse shaking hands and signing autographs at U.S. Cellular Park from last night. Coach Joe joins us. Hello, sir.
Good evening, boys.
There truly is no one you don't know in a crowd, is there? Seriously. Now, people say that about me all the time, but yes, you far surpass.
Oh, come on.
So Joe and I go to the Sox game last night. Yeah, I know. I don't know why we did either, but we went. And it was like Joe Rodriguero night, honestly. The only thing that would have been better is if Joe would have actually been managing the White Sox last night. But
I just know a few people.
You know a lot of people, and we're glad for it because obviously our numbers didn't surge into the teens because of my personality. Welcome. We are thrilled to have you back for another 2-hour edition of Pigskin Preview. Of course, brought to us every single week by our tremendous sponsors, Joe, State Farm agent Kevin Malloy in New Lenox, and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe?
State Farm is there.
Of course, the WJO game of the week. And there's a couple of good ones, a couple of dandies in the area. We kick everything off by the award-winning Friday Night Lights pregame show hosted by Evan Bredesen. I'm sure we'll find out what food item they're having to dine on Friday evening. Always a big part of the show to find out what they're eating. I don't know. Is it a pizza night coming up tomorrow night? We'll talk to Evan a little bit, and we'll try to get that. I'm sure it's a very important decision, but we'll get into that. That's a 6:05 start. 7:30 start from ATI Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Joe Rodriguero and Dave Dewey Dwyer on the call.
Yes.
Immaculate Conception, ICCP comes to town and takes on the Hillman in Joliet. Joe, that is a tremendous ball game.
It is. I mean, I as I said before, I watched IC, very impressed with them. Very impressed, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, and again, Bill Kraft has done a tremendous job with that program. Every year they're competitive, and again, I think this year, they're going to wind up 3A. They'll challenge for a state title.
They could probably do some damage.
So we're talking about a 3-minute Friday Night Lights, and then the rest will be Dave Dwyer's pregame show,
Analysis?
I would think.
Maybe.
But again, look forward to that broadcast. And again, Joe, the WJOL EDGYTIM.com Big 5 poll for week 2, sir.
At number 5, we have Lamont. At number 4, Lockport. At 3, Joliet Catholic. Number 2, Bolingbrook. And number 1, Lincoln Way East.
So again, you can hear that Big 5 poll every Monday morning on Slocum in the Morning right here on 1340 WJOL and WJOL.com. Busy show. What we are going to do, we are keeping the early portion of the show open for phone calls. So 815-254-7300. We have this opening segment as well as 625, Joe, for phone calls and our analysis.
Yep.
Then we will go heavy guest. We are going to have Brett Coy for Lamont, the Lamont Football Club, with a nice win over Libertyville in week 1. And now they hit the road and take on Nazareth Academy in LaGrange Park. Hey, Joe, how you doing over by there? Go over to LaGrange Park, go to Frankie's, go get some beef and Italian sausage.
All right.
Go watch us some football.
Yes.
Should be a tremendous game for Lamont. So that will be a challenge. We'll talk to Brett Coy about that. We'll ask him how much Joe is actually missed in the hallways of Lamont. 7 o'clock hour, Jake Jaworski, Jaws, will join us. As we mentioned, Joliet Catholic, they themselves will be hosting a huge game tomorrow night, hosting Immaculate Conception. Tom Hugg, local area ref, someone, Joe, that you've obviously known for many years.
Yes.
My paths have crossed with Tom Hugg literally all over the state of Illinois for the years. We're going to talk to Tom again. He's done multiple state title games. He refs everything. And we're going to talk to him about the current ref shortage and just his thoughts and maybe some just suggestions of how we can attack that and maybe try to get it resolved. So that we are looking forward to. And of course, we are going to check in the late 7 o'clock hour with Gavin Johnson and Reed Custer. The Comets with a big week 1 win.
Huge.
Now heading down to Arcola in week 2. We'll talk about how that game came together. That's a 1A kind of level school, Joe. So we'll see how all that came about.
Okay.
But again, just your impressions from your game. I know we talked with Evan a little while ago about your impressions from Joliet West as well as Lockport.
Okay, I'll go with Joliet West first. I was impressed with them, Mr. Bowe, and there's another young man who I talked to you on Friday night about, Mr. Bailey. The Bailey, he is electric. I mean, he gets his hands on the ball and he could go the distance. Almost ran a couple kickoffs back for a touchdown. If they can figure out a way to get to him, get the ball to him a little more, things are going to look pretty good. But overall, though, defensively and offensively in the first half, Joliet West, I thought very good. They kind of took it to Lockport. Mr. Bowe had a great first half. Second half, I think they only got 2 first downs, and that was on the first drive of the second half. But don't worry, West fans. That team is going to be good. They are going to be good. Lockport, ways to go. The Pfeiffer young man got hurt late in the second quarter, but
the quarterback, right?
The
Pfeiffer?
quarterback, yes. And the adjustments made at halftime by George and his staff were outstanding, and we talked about that after the game. They kind of bottled up Mr. Bowe, who kind of ran a little wild in the first half, and forced him maybe to throw the ball a little more. But overall, impressed at Lockport. A ways to go, like I said, and George and I talked, like I said, after the game, and he admitted that too, that they've got a ways to go, but potentially they've got a lot of potential also.
Yeah, it's good to hear about Joliet West for sure. Hopefully they'll be able to get some things turned around.
And a nice crowd by Joliet West too.
Good.
Yes, very
good.
nice.
Yeah,
crowd.
you definitely want to see that for sure. And again, it won't be easy again this week. Joliet West taking on Minooka. So we'll two teams 0-1. Definitely
That's going to be an interesting game.
Definitely looking 2 0-1 teams looking for a win. So we'll see how that shakes out. As far as goings around in the area, I mean, kind of according to plan. There really wasn't any real surprise or shakeup. I mean, Lincoln Way East. Again, you almost expected a little bit of an early tussle with Crete, but then they were able to take advantage of a key turnover and just kind of rolled. Ended up, I don't know, it was 40-something,
15 or
13 or 15 or something. So it was a relatively big margin. Again, Bolingbrook we talked about. Oh, by the way, guys, Evan, I'm sorry, I meant to mention this to you earlier. Jonas Williams, that freshman quarterback from Bolingbrook, the Chicago Bears statewide high school player of the week this week. So that happened. So again, congratulations to him. And Bolingbrook is again over 400 yards passing, 7 touchdowns as a freshman. Joe, I don't think he's been in high school 2 weeks.
I like the question and his answer in the paper.
Yeah,
where'd you come from? Humphrey Junior High.
And kudos to Steve Susi.
Yes.
I told him immediately when I saw him on Saturday that was tremendous.
Yes.
So, but yeah, unbelievable. So again, they played well. Joliet Catholic, as you almost expect, they go on the road and end up pulling off a big win on the road against Waterford, Wisconsin. We'll talk to Jake Jaworski about that trip. And again, Lamont, tight win, but they do get the win over Libertyville. So again, not surprised. I figured that'd be a pretty competitive game for sure.
Oh yeah.
Libertyville, one of the better teams up in the North Suburban Conference. Bottom line is a drive you don't want to make on a Friday at about 5 o'clock.
No, that's going
Well,
right by Carmel and Mundelein. You pass by.
Yeah, it's right down the street.
It's just down the street.
You go to Carmel, Mundelein, and then you stop at Frank's for the Memories, which is the tremendous hot dog wing stand for something to eat, and a little bit further down is Libertyville. Joe, I got the whole.
I was just going to say
mapped out by food.
That's why I talk to you all the time. You got all the food places.
You gotta live right, Joe.
Right.
You got to. You have to.
You got
So.
Yep.
All right, 815-254-7300. We are going to take your calls, especially in the next segment. We're going to take a commercial break here in a minute, and then we'll come back and open up the phone calls again. We'll start breaking down the area games and anything else you would like to add. And by the way, we will talk out of area. If you've got questions about teams around the state of Illinois, hey, guess what? I might be available for you. Let's go out to the phone lines real quick. Bob joining us. Hello, Bob.
What's up, guys?
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Fine. How about you?
Good. So you got a home game this week. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. How was the trip, first of all, to Waterford, Wisconsin?
It was nice. About 2.5 hour ride.
Okay. Was it more traffic than distance or more distance than traffic?
Traffic.
Yeah.
At night, we got back pretty quick, but
no doubt.
going there.
How'd they look?
Oh, I tell you what, if that line plays the way they play for the first week, they're gonna be tough.
Weren't you the one like 2 weeks ago saying how bad they looked?
Bob goes out to practice. He critiques the offensive line.
Hey, things.
Bob Holt's on the phone with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, things fool you sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I know.
I was thinking about all these young kids.
They're kids, Bob.
I know, but still, you had a big turnover.
Yep.
I watched that Loyola game in St. Xavier. Tell me, when you have 18 kids gone, makes a little difference.
Well, unless you're Loyola.
Yes.
It doesn't matter because they come in waves.
Yeah, but it still makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
You got to take. Sometimes you got to take open to learn.
Do you guys realize? And Evan, I don't even know if you realize this. Loyola's varsity roster is almost 100 kids deep.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's
I heard
all
it was
it's
like
all seniors and juniors. I don't think there's one sophomore on that varsity
I think
roster.
they said it was about 160 kids out on that team.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, it
that's
is.
what I heard.
It is. They've had a couple of tremendous enrollment classes up there, and for some reason, and give John and that staff credit,
Oh,
guys,
yes.
they've been able to keep those kids. Only 11 are going to play at a time, and they've been able to keep those kids in the program. So
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right,
they
what's
were
on the
good.
menu tomorrow?
Probably we're going to do brats and hot dogs and stuff like that.
Well, you got Joe and Dewey sniffing
I'll
around.
stop
so
by
maybe something
right
good.
off the bat, Bob.
Am I blessed?
What was that? I'm sorry.
What now?
Am I blessed with those two clowns?
Oh, yeah. Well, with me, you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Heavy emphasis on clown when you're talking about those two.
Good guys. So is Dewey. I knew Dewey and Joey for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Just like to bullshit with them.
I know. All right, Bob. We'll let you
All
go.
right, Bob. See you tomorrow night, buddy.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.
All right. It is officially a pigskin preview now that Bob's call has been. And we will step aside and take a break. When we come back, guess what? We're going to open the phone lines right back up. You're listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
It's been 9 long months, but high school football is back. This is State Farm agent Kevin Malloy, the proud sponsor of the Pigskin Preview Show, wishing all of our local teams the best of luck in 2022. Only time will tell how many champions we'll crown this year. Speaking of championship teams, if you're looking for a new insurance agency, why not consider the Malloy State Farm team, voted the best of Will County 4 years in a row. Give us a call at 815-463-5800 to hear what a championship team sounds like.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Love and Light Wellness Spa. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'd like to make an appointment for next week.
Excellent. Does Tuesday 9 a.m. work?
Ooh, mornings are when I go to Taco Bell to get my bacon breakfast quesadilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like missing out on those fluffy eggs and crispy bacon covered in melty cheeses.
Oh, I understand. Let's see what I have in the afternoon.
Namaste.
Try the bacon breakfast quesadilla, only at Taco Bell. Limited participating U.S. Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Contact local store for hours of participation, which vary.
What's better than the long weekend? Kohl's budget boosting deals on denim. I got myself jeans for $19.99. 40% off Levi's for my son. Even my husband found a pair for 30% off. Plus, because I spent over $25, I got $10 off. And earned Kohl's cash. More style, more savings. Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end September 5th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News, Talk, Sports. EDGYTIM here along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero. Glad to have you aboard for the next hour and a half or so. We're going to continue to talk IHSA football for the next hour plus. So feel free, listen, give us a call, 815-254-7300. Or if you're watching us, hello, everybody watching us on the YouTube live stream. You're always welcome to text us any comments. And if they're respectable and,
yes,
decent and good questions, we'll throw you into the show. So Josh Stevenson asked predictions, thoughts for Sterling at St. Francis tomorrow. That is an intriguing game. Sterling out of the Western Big Six. Again, just a great program. Coach Slem has done a tremendous job with Sterling, one of the top teams in the Western Big Six. And really, Joe, one of the top teams, bigger school teams in the western part of the state for many, many years. Coming up and taking on Wheaton St. Francis. And it's one of the more intriguing games this week. I think it's a great matchup. Josh, I'm going to take St. Francis. I think in my pick 'em, I took St. Francis to win at home, but
I think it tells us a lot. It's going to tell us a lot about St. Francis playing a 5A, generally a bigger 5A team. A team in Sterling that can usually do some things. They want to get the run game going, but usually can throw it a bit too. And it tells us about Sterling going into their conference play. How good is this Sterling team? Can they beat a pretty solid Chicagoland opponent? Last year was kind of a fluke for the Golden Warriors. They had a lot of injuries late in the year and ended up playing St. Pat's and just wasn't the same team. But yeah, Josh, that's a really interesting game. I'm looking forward to that. And Joe, as you know, St. Francis, Bob McMillan's done a nice job. That program's definitely on the upswing.
Yes.
So, Josh, thank you for that question. And again, if you're watching us off the stream, you can just text us a message, and we can use it and plug it into the show. So, Josh, thanks for listening. Thanks for the question. Let's go through the area.
Before we get into the area, I was just, Friday night at Lockport, and Dewey and I are doing the game, and Evan shooting his scores and stuff. I was just amazed at some of the scores before.
Oh, we got a good one. We got a good final we're going to talk about when Coach Coy's on.
Man, I'm going, how many, 40 some points in a quarter. And I'm going, something's had to happen, interceptions for touchdowns or whatever. But some of the scores at halftime were.
Well, how about the Leonard Bowl? Son,
I called you.
I love you, son. I love you, son. Now I'm putting 60 on you. Just to show you who's boss. Just one last time.
Yes.
Show you dad's the boss in that family.
When I saw that score, I just started laughing. I called you right away.
Yep. So, but you know what, though, and all kidding aside, that's how those two operate. They are highly competitive. And I'm sure if Derek had the chance, Derek would have put the hammer down on his dad.
Without a doubt.
No doubt about it. So again, you're right. There were some interesting scores. And we'll bring it up with Coach Coy, but the most interesting score of all from last week, Nazareth 2. And who did they? Kankakee nothing.
Yeah.
How does that happen? And it was early in the game. It was like the first series. It was a bad punt in the back of the end zone for a safety.
I think it might have been first quarter. I don't know for sure, but when I heard that,
it was.
Right away, I'm going, well, this is just.
Who screwed that up? Someone didn't report a score.
Because when I went home and went on the website to look at scores, and then I talked to you on Saturday, I says, was that score for real?
Yep.
You go, yes, it was.
That was a score questioned around the state. Everyone's like, oh, that's got to be wrong. Yep. Oh, was that soccer? Was it a soccer score? Crazy. Let's break down some of the area games. We'll save the first one, though, Joe, for when we have Jake Jaworski on early in the 7 o'clock hour. Wheaton North at Providence, both 1-0. Providence coming off a nice win against a big enrollment school in Lake Central, Indiana. Taking on Wheaton North, and I know Wheaton North got a nice win. I want to say it was over Downer South, I believe.
Okay.
Again, Wheaton North coming off a 7A state title last year. A lot of key kids graduated off that team. So what I'm trying to tell Providence fans in Emerald Isle out there is I have no idea what to expect out of Wheaton North. You?
Not at all. That's why I questioned you before we went on the air about Wheaton North. I said, how many guys came back from that
just a
state championship team last year?
Handful of good players. Kirsten Libby's a senior wide receiver who was like one of the main go-to receivers for them last year. He was a great player.
He had a great game in that championship
game. Ross Danstill, who's an inside linebacker, I believe he's committed to Holy Cross. He's back, so you can't miss him on defense. He's about 6'4", probably about 240 playing inside linebacker. So he's a really tough player. But outside of that, Joe, they're kind of young. So
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many coaches do you know that in their first victory ever as a head coach won on a safety?
That's got to be the only.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Evan kind of brought that up Friday night too, talking about that. So
hey, who cares?
Hey, win's a
win, baby.
Win's a win. That's right.
A win is a win. So going through the area schedule, Joe, the Tone, Coach Tully's 1-0. On the road, taking on Edgewood High School from Indiana. Tully's got either some weird, small, state connections, or he plays some interesting non-conference
Yes.
opponents, doesn't he?
He sure does. I have no idea where that school is at.
All right, next week we're getting him on the show.
He's not coming.
If we, Joe, if we have to get in the car and drive down and buy his family ice cream before Thursday, we are getting him on the show.
Oh.
But a nice win, obviously,
Yes.
for Piatone to get on the board. Now they go take on, again, an Edgewood high school team in Indiana that's 1-1. They've already played 2 games. So it's definite advantage for most out-of-state schools. They usually have that 1 week leg up on us.
Right.
Bishop Mack, who got throttled by Marmion week 1. That was surprising. I didn't think Marmion would put it on them that bad. Travel, take on the Kohlers, Coal City at home. Obviously, Joe, 2 teams looking to bounce back and try to find themselves.
Yeah, and Coal City played Morris last week, and I don't think Bishop McNamara is going to be anywhere near the size or speed. Well, they'll have probably a running back that guy can run, but
They do. Jaden Wright, who's a stud.
I'm picking the Kohlers here.
Yeah, it's again, Kohler fans, and you know this as well. This is nothing that we're not telling you already, but I wouldn't put a ton into that Morris game because that's a Morris team that could win a state title this year.
Yes.
Seriously. I think they could be that good. And we will continue to monitor Morris, and we'll have Alan Thorson on and continue to watch them closely. Lyle, the first of 2 meetings during the regular season for Wilmington. They will host Lyle in the first go-around. And as I said, Joe, talking to some of the locals, you would have thought the Wildcats lost last week, but they didn't. They won.
They won. Win's a win.
Take it on Lyle, and hey, I'll play a bigger sized, solid opponent any day of the week, and then you pull out a win. You got to feel good about it.
And this one, I remember talking to Coach Raints. This one is the conference game, I think, correct? And then the one later on in the year is the non-con. I think that's what he said.
We'll find out.
It doesn't matter, but I'm picking the Wildcats.
No doubt about it. We talked about Morris, big win week 1 over Coal City. Now they go on the road on their North Suburban beatdown tour starting at Antioch. Now, to be fair, Antioch is usually one of the better teams up in the northern part of the conference. But Joe, I have a feeling, and we can get into this with Alan Thorson, and I don't know, maybe we can't, but we'll try. I have a feeling that this whole Kishwaukee River Interstate 8 meshing, which on paper looks like a good thing, boy, I don't know. I see some beatdowns continuing, and I don't see some of these schools sticking around very long.
Man,
and Morris again, Morris and Sycamore and a couple of others. They're like the guy hitchhiking, hopping trains. I was just
gonna say,
like the hobos looking for another conference home.
Yes. Who'll take us?
But I don't know. I just think that the teams, to me, it's very imbalanced from a competitive standpoint. I think we're going to see that. You're going to see Sycamore continue to roll. You're going to see Morris continue to roll through the conference. But I am interested to see how Antioch plays Morris. I know Antioch, I believe, lost to Carmel week 1.
Okay.
Carmel Catholic, who, again, we talked about, it's got some kids coming back.
Yes.
We'll save Lamont and Naz for Brett Coy, who's going to come up at about 6:45. Your guy, Bremen.
Dan Still.
Coming to town to take on Joliet Central. Unfortunately, Joe, I was mistaken in my prediction. The Steelmen fall up short against Argo, but I'm hoping Coach got some burritos.
I certainly hope so.
Is there a win on the schedule? I think there is.
Yeah, I think so.
You've got Romeoville. There's a couple others there that I think that Joliet Central will be able to get a win, and never say never against West, Joe. You never know.
Right. And Bremen in the conference is pretty competitive. I don't think they ever beat Lamont, let's say, on that side of the conference, but Dan Stell does a nice job over there.
You want to join us, 815-254-7300. We would more than welcome your phone calls. Joe, Joliet West at Minooka, both 0-1. You obviously got an eye full of Joliet West in week 1, and Minooka just kind of took it on the chin against, as we thought, a very good Bolingbrook team.
Yes. I'm going to go Minooka here. If Joliet West can play a full game, like I said, for one half, they went toe-to-toe with Lockport.
I think especially early at Minooka because you know how that crowd is at Minooka. It's a great turnout. It'll be packed. It's the first home game. They're going to fill up. They're going to fill up that place, and it's going to be loud and a really good atmosphere. And I think the longer Joliet West can hang and keep that one tight, the better off the Tigers are going to wind up being. So again, that's another one I'm going to be watching very closely for sure. Rematch of playoff game last year, Joe. Plainfield Central at Yorkville. Plainfield Central, unfortunately, pretty tough week one game. Came up a little bit short.
1 point short against Lincoln Way West.
So again, a definite solid effort from Plainfield Central in week one. Taking on a Yorkville team, Joe, that we talked about early in the preseason that a lot of people think wouldn't be surprised to see them in the thick of things in the west part of the suburban prairie. I think this will wind up being a good game.
Yes, I think so too. If Plainfield, it's one of those games where you're playing away, and Yorkville is very good. Plainfield Central plays like they did last week. They have a chance to beat Yorkville, which is a very tough opponent at home.
Plainfield East, unfortunately for Brad Kuntz and the Bengals, they start off 0-1, and Joe just kind of got walloped by Plainfield North. I think Plainfield North is
going to be good.
Little extra motivation in that ball game. They get the win over Plainfield East, so East will now travel to Shepherd. And Joe, I'm telling you right now, this is a pretty good Shepherd team. This is going to be a tough game for Plainfield East.
Yeah, I'm going to pick East in this game, though. But you're right, though. Shepherd is not a bad program at all.
Plainfield South, the Cougars once again get a huge game out of Brian Stanton. How many times have we said that over the last 3 years?
Yes.
It's going to continue. They will host DeKalb from the DuPage Valley, who travels to Plainfield South this week. Could be a good game. Could be a really close game. I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe Plainfield South pull this one out.
Yeah, I'm picking them. I just ball control, keeping the ball away from DeKalb.
West Aurora on the road at Romeoville, both 0-1, Joe, both looking for a win.
We talked about West Aurora last week with a lot of guys coming back, and I'm going to go with West Aurora here.
Bolingbrook on the road Saturday, 3 o'clock at lovely Gately Stadium. To take on Simeon, the Wolverine, the Blue Machine. Could be a very, very good ball game here, Joe. I know that Bolingbrook fans are excited, and they should be. You got Josh Williams to come out Jonah. Is it Jonah or Josh Williams? I keep screwing that up. I'll double check. But the young freshman quarterback who had a tremendous week one game. Does he come back to earth a little bit, Joe? And that's the first question. And then also, as I said, I had a chance to see Simeon. I was really impressed with them. They did some really good things on Saturday in their win over Wheaton South. Came from behind, actually. They ended up scoring 34 unanswered points in that game.
Wow.
And they have some big-time playmakers. Malik Elzy's already committed to Cincinnati. He's a 3-star ranked receiver. Andre Cruz is a running back to watch. He is like a bolt of lightning, just explosive as you could bet. And they're going to give Bolingbrook a challenge. I don't think there's any doubt. I think John Ivelo realizes that as well, that this is going to be a good matchup.
And you saw Simeon last week. The only question I have for you with the Simeon team, are they going to be able to match, and they usually probably do have speed, are they going to be able to match up with the receivers of Bolingbrook?
Maybe. Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Very good line play as well for Simeon.
Okay.
Both sides of the ball. Their offensive
line. And you mentioned
line,
that they didn't make any mistakes or
very clean game for Simeon.
And stuff like
very
that.
Clean game. Like I said, I wrote about this a little bit earlier in the week. I think this is going to be a big year for the Public League. Now, I don't necessarily see anyone winning a state title out of the Public League this year, but I see 3 or 4 teams that I think once they get into the state playoffs, they could cause some havoc. They could cause some trouble for a handful of the suburban teams. So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. But again, I think Simeon could give Bolingbrook a good game. I would also take the Raiders for the win, but not going to come easily. A game that I am planning to attend Friday night, I think one of the better games, and certainly in the area and the state as well, Batavia, Joe, on the road at Lincoln Way East. Batavia, Wallop Phillips. Don't let that discourage you too much, Lincoln Way East fans. This is not a really good Phillips team. But give the Bulldogs credit. They went down Saturday night at Gately. got the job done. Now they've got a short week. Come back this Friday, taking out a Lincoln Way East program. Joe, you know how tough they are at home.
That's right. I'm picking East all the way here.
Yeah, I think Rob is not sad that I'm walking in the gates. I have a very good home record at Lincoln Way East. I don't want to tell my friends of Batavia that, but it's like, yeah, it's like ridiculous. I think I've seen them lose once since I've been covering games at East. It's ridiculous how good the home record is for me.
You know, and it's funny. I think I've only seen them lose once at home, too, when we did the games on WJOL.
We might have been at the same game.
It was a field goal late in the game that beat them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we will see. Lockport, as we mentioned, the Porters are off to a 1-0 start. They get a home game. They will host Mattia Valley, Joe, just a program that continues to just kind of struggle to get their wheels going. Obviously playing in a very tough conference in the DuPage Valley.
And I was impressed with Lockport in the second half, and I'm sure we always talk about week 1 to week 2. I think Lockport will be ready here and go 2-0.
One more game before we go up against a break here. Lincoln Way Central, unfortunately, the Knights fall to 0-1. They will take on Lake Park also at 0-1. I think the Knights will get one here.
Yeah, I'm picking Lincoln Way Central here also.
All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we will go out to the phone line. We will be joined by Lamont head coach Brett Coy. Someone we're a little familiar with. Stick around. You're listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the 2-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
The name to know for heating and air conditioning too. Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Cooler temps are coming sooner than we think. Hi, this is Rick Cronholm, president of Johansson and Anderson Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now is the perfect time to install your new heating and cooling system with special offers from Johansson and Anderson and energy rebates. We're talking York and Johansson and Anderson rebates of up to $850 and utility rebates up to $450 on qualified heating and air conditioning systems. That adds up to $1,300 back for you, and you'll use less energy all winter. Invest in your home, get money back, and save money every month. Call the name you can trust for over 75 years, Johansson and Anderson. Call J&A today, sleep tight tonight. Johansson and Anderson, a York certified comfort expert.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
The next golfer is up in this Battle of the Brave benefit game. He takes the swing, and it falls directly into the hole for a hole-in-one.
The Battle of the Brave golf outing is back on September 19th, raising money for the families of fallen Will County firefighters, police, and first responders. And you can help by joining us for 9 holes of golf, a lot of fun games out on the course, and enjoy some fantastic food and drinks at the cookout after golf with some of your favorite DJs. It's a wonderful day for a great cause. 1340 WJOL and our partners at ExxonMobil and Inwood Golf Course are putting on our 4th annual Battle of the Brave to raise money for the 100 Club of Will County. There are a limited number of foursomes available available. So if you are interested in joining us, go to WJOL.com, WJOL Live, and click on Battle of the Brave to sign up your foursome today. Battle of the Brave, September 19th at Inwood Golf Course. We hope to see you there.
It's a tradition. It's a passion. It's a way of life. High school football in Will County runs through the blood of sports fans everywhere.
Two of the best programs in Illinois high school football. Lockhorns Friday night, 15-time state champion Joliet Catholic entertains 5-time state champion Immaculate Conception. It's all brought to you by Tire Tracks USA this Friday night at 7:30. High school football on WJOL and WJOL.com.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Brought to you by State Farm agents Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joseph.
State Farm is there.
And just like a good pal, Brett Coy is there for us, the head coach of your Lamont football team. And
yes,
we are happy to welcome him aboard. Coach, welcome aboard. And we are back to hassle you for yet another season.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
So the first thought I had when I knew who you had coming up this week was, first of all, I think you almost had to go look at that tape to see how Naz ended up winning 2-0 over Kankakee. And just give us your thoughts on that. I mean, I'm sure you watched it from a scouting purpose. I mean, how does that happen?
Well, it just, what's extremely scary is the athletes you see on both sides of the ball and only 2 points scored. That's what's absolutely crazy. Yeah. I mean, Naz has some athletes, and then the way Kankakee's been the last couple of years too. They're just absolutely loaded with athletes all over the place. And then when you see only 2 points scored, it's one of those ones that's no doubt's an eye opener.
So I mean, yeah, obviously you're able to see some things off of tape, but was it turnover heavy? Was it the team just get in the red zone and just kind of fizzle? How did all that kind of work?
I think it was major turnover heavy. Okay. From my understanding, I think Naz had 5 or 6 turnovers, and I think Kankakee had a couple.
Yeah.
Both of them had the ball in the red zone. I mean, deep, and couple turnovers, but some defenses big time stepping up with some goal line stances too. So, a little bit of what you would expect, some just great football, and Naz always does that. And, Kankakee obviously, being in a state championship game last year. And I know got quite a few kids back. So, they wanted to prove a points. And I think with the 2-0 game, they definitely did. They're right in the hunt.
How long did it take you to go to Coach Hayes and go, okay, buddy, here's your 2-0 lead. Now get us a win?
Oh, it's always a conversation, no doubt. Always a conversation. Yep. So, yeah, it definitely was interesting prepping on both sides of the ball when you see something like that, no doubt.
Speaking of Coach Hayes, Brett, did he lose a little hair last week, or do you think he lost a little hair during the course of that game when I saw the score?
Oh, yeah, those guys, those poor guys' heads were spinning a little bit, no doubt, and you guys know as well as I do, Lamont defense has been the mainstay, ever since I've been here, and even long before I was here too, and we're young, it's to be expected, and that's not been the case since I've been there. We've always been solid, and that's been the elderly group all the time, and we seem to be playing catch up on the offensive side of the ball, and this year we are extremely, extremely young on the defensive side, and there was no doubt we had flashes of showing that, and I'm confident those guys coach their kids up like no tomorrow. I'll take those guys defensive staff wise over just about anybody. And, they coached our kids up this week, and knock on wood, we're going to show up Friday, and I think they're going to have our kids ready.
Brett, one of the things that we were throwing around before we went on the air, and I've had a lot of talks with a lot of different coaches about this, and for whatever reason, we can't get this done in the state of Illinois. But you look at other states around us, and I think about a game like you just had. Why can't we get a legitimate scrimmage game before we start the season every year?
Be honest with you, I don't. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't know if that's something that. It's just, a part of the past that it's never happened, and they're afraid to go that route. You know what I mean? I really don't know, and you guys know as well as I do that, there's a handful of things that we both think are small things that to us, I think may be logical, and may clean some things up a little bit, but just never really happen. And, there's a lot of, without a doubt, there's a lot of positives, but, there's also things that we continue to look at that just sort of make sense for all of us that, just don't seem to be moved on.
Yeah, I just look at teams and you talk about the benefits of having that game, and I always think about the lower levels. I mean, you look at a freshman level. You mean to tell me that you guys couldn't find it valuable to get your freshmen out there and have a freshman scrimmage game and actually have tape against them, against an opponent, and to actually have teaching moments and to learn and have tape to go back before that first game, looking at, just looking at, okay, this is what you did wrong. That's what you did wrong. Brett, you can't tell me that doesn't help when it comes to a safety issue and everything else involved.
100%. And especially like you said, with the younger kids, anytime you're able to get tape like that, it's a great teaching moment. So, it just, when you've been around for so long, you sort of pick and choose your battles. And, that's one of those ones where I've just sort of let it lie and sort of figure, hey, it has not happened up till now. And I just don't foresee it happening in the near future either.
Brett, you're going up to Nazareth, a very, very tough place to play. And I got it. The question I have is, you've played them before, and you kind of know, I think they probably run the same defenses against the offense that you call. What improvements do you have to see this week in order to, let's say, beat a Nazareth team with your offense?
Offensively, we just got to clean things up, and I think that was the phase last year. I mean, there was multiple times we were in the red zone and had a couple key penalties here and there where we took some points off the board, and all of a sudden now you're looking at it as a little bit of a different football game than what it ended up being. And, you look at what we did last week, and it's a similar situation, early in the year, that those are things that you look at, and just like you guys talked about tape wise, you look and evaluate those things and you try to clean those things up. Just, last week versus Libertyville, there was a couple opportunities there down in the red zone that we could have put ourselves up 3 scores, and now all of a sudden you're talking, things are quite a bit different than the end of the game the way it was, and a little nerve-wracking at times. And, those are things that we're going to have to correct if we're going to beat a good NAS football team. We're going to have to capitalize on situations down in the red zone where, last year we didn't, and last week we didn't. And knock on wood, hopefully that's something we've spent a little bit of time on this week, prepping for stuff like that. And hopefully we're going to be able to clean those things up.
Health-wise, Brett, you come out of week 1 okay?
Yeah, for the most part. I obviously, a physical football game, which, which we knew was going to be, and, also a good one for us. But, for the most part, we're relatively happy or healthy. And, we got a little sickness going on, but I would venture to say that's probably with the weather changing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's a little bit of everybody nowadays. So that's part of, I think part of school starting and part of being a high school kid too.
Yeah, there's no doubt. One more thing, and then we'll cut you loose. Do you notice, and again, I know it's a little different this year because you've got a lot of kids back from last year, just the overall conditioning level. You talk about, obviously we talked a lot about the COVID year in the spring and literally rolling from one spring season into a summer and then automatically into the fall last year. Having an actual full off season, have you noticed the difference, especially in your kids going into this year?
We have with our kids, and be honest with you, I thought we had a fantastic off season.
Yeah.
Our kids bought in. Willie and Conisette do an incredible, Joe knows they do an incredible job with our kids in the off season, our off season training. There was even times where I was like, all right, we need to pull things back here a little bit, because we're getting after it so much. So have I noticed that? Absolutely. I think our kids are in much better condition than they were, COVID times, and coming out of that whole COVID, as well as I feel so much more comfortable with our kids.
Yeah.
Just the whole body situation, having a great off season of training, and, you never felt like you got yourself grounded back at the COVID time, like you were in the weight room enough and you were preparing your kids for a physical football season. And, now, with that off season that we had, definitely much more comfortable, without a doubt.
Brett, we appreciate it as always. Good luck tomorrow night driving
luck.
over to LaGrange Park and taking on Naz. Best of luck, friend.
Thanks, you guys, very much. Thanks for having me on.
Tell the boys I said hey.
I will do that. We miss you, Joe. You know that.
Oh, there it is. There it is. See, Joe, now you feel good.
Yeah. Oh, they're a
Thanks,
bunch
Brett.
of great guys. I love them.
All right. Brett Coy joins us. And again, we appreciate him joining it. Hey, hour one in the books already. Joe, it flies when you're having fun. And
That's
I don't know
right.
if this is fun, but I'm enjoying myself. You are listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Don't go anywhere. Hour number 2, Jake Jaworski, Tom Hugg, and Gavin Johnson joining us live.
So you're getting some roof or exterior work done, and you've covered all your bases, right? Even checked out some online reviews. You think you've got everything covered? Well, think again. Not all roofing and siding companies are insured. That's why I can't say enough great things about R.E. Duchesne Construction. They are a licensed and fully bonded exterior contractor serving Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties for over 40 years. I trust them, and I've personally used them.
Hi, I'm Rita Duchesne Hughes. If you look at your home and don't like what you see, or what you have no longer protects your family and largest asset, call us at R.E. Duchesne Construction. R.E. Duchesne has an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, so you can be confident you need only make one call. Looking to upgrade? R.E. Duchesne offers a full line of roof shingles, gutters, siding, soffit fascia, and windows. Call us at 815-722-2821 for all your home improvement needs. Financing is now available. Check us out on the web at reducheneinc.com.
And your home for Will County's news, talk, and sports. We're 1340 WJOL.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too, using cutting-edge approaches. Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681.
Now there are even more reasons to switch to Verizon, the network America relies on.
For real?
Yep, for real. Turn in your old phone and get the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 free with select 5G unlimited plans.
Definitely switching.
Totally. Everybody's switching to the network America relies on. Verizon. 5G ultra-wideband available in select areas. $999.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line. On select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with boarding. Less $800 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions apply.
The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen. Weekdays from 4 to 6. The Afternoon Rush is your recap of the day and a look ahead at what's to come. The top headlines from around Will County. News from around Illinois. What's happening in D.C. and around the world. More importantly, breaking news, traffic, and weather as you try to get home from work. The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen. 4 to 6 here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports, 1340.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Aldinger. The newest COVID-19 boosters will soon be headed to your local pharmacy. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky signed off on Pfizer and Moderna shots, which target the most common Omicron strains. President Biden is expected to speak to the nation in a matter of minutes. The White House says the speech is one the president has been thinking about for a long time and that he's been working on for a while. But an official says it is not a response to any specific news headlines of the day. The president, according to an official, felt it was an appropriate time to give a speech like this, which the White House says focuses on the threats to American democracy before the traditional fall campaign season that begins after Labor Day. The top Republican in the House says it should also include an apology for referring to MAGA Republicans as fascists. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy giving a rebuttal to the address. The House January 6th committee has requested information and letters from former House Speaker Newt Gingrich that are related to conversations and communications with former President Trump's team before and after the attack on the Capitol. NASA says so far so good about Saturday's scheduled test launch of its Artemis 1 moon rocket. The mission manager says the glitches that scrubbed Monday's launch have since been fixed. A federal judge has tentatively declined to overturn the jury conviction of disgraced Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes on 4 felony counts of fraud and conspiracy that could leave the former Silicon Valley phenom a step closer to serving prison time. A late burst of buying on Wall Street forced the markets to a mixed finish. The Dow and the S&P closing up, the NASDAQ down. You're listening to ABC News.
Ad paid for by USA Veteran Law Group. Attention Marines, if you or a loved one lived or worked at Camp Lejeune for more than 30 days between 1953 and 1988, you were exposed to drinking water contaminated with benzene and other highly carcinogenic chemicals, causing those exposed to develop devastating health conditions. You may qualify for significant compensation if you have been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, bladder, kidney, or liver cancer, or other serious health conditions. Get justice at 866-463-0001 or visit usaveteranlawgroup.com.
It's worse than the FBI raid. Big Tech and the Deep State want to stop Donald Trump. Now, Dick Morris reveals their dark plan in his new book, The Return. Already a #1 Amazon bestseller, The Return reveals the real threat facing Trump. But Dick Morris says Trump will still win. At bookstores, get The Return or see the free offer and save $28. Call 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to thereturn911.com. Thereturn911.com.
Singer R. Kelly told a federal judge he won't take a stand in his child pornography trial in Chicago. Kelly's defense is now presenting his case. Fewer Americans are signing up for jobless benefits.
Preliminary figures from the Labor Department show 5,000 fewer people making their first claims for unemployment benefits last week than the week before. And that previous week also was revised downward by 6,000. The much less volatile 4-week moving average for jobless filings is also dropping after several weeks on the rise.
ABC's Jim Ryan. just in time for the holiday weekend.
Something new from the Federal Department of Transportation, an online customer service dashboard is up and running to help travelers see what kinds of guarantees, refunds, or other compensation the major domestic airlines will offer for flight delays and cancellations. It's been a summer of headaches for flyers. Airlines canceled days of flights or otherwise had lengthy delays, claiming weather and staffing issues. The new dashboard is part of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg's plan to get the major airlines to improve their service and transparency with the flying public. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
An alert Amazon driver helps to save the lives of 3 puppies which were stuck in a burning Florida home. The driver was delivering a package when she saw smoke and called 911. Columbia County Fire Rescue says the firefighters pulled the puppies and revived them from smoke inhalation. They credit the driver for saving the dogs and the home. This is ABC News.
Honey, I can't believe you gave me toe fungus.
I gave my wife toe fungus for the 3rd time. My doctor then told me that toe fungus is not just a cosmetic problem and that it can spread and get worse. He introduced me to a new and different routine that flushes out even the most difficult cases of fungus. It's called Crystal Flush. Call now, and for a limited time, you can try Crystal Flush risk-free for 30 days. Call 800-764-9219. That's 800-764-9219.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Hi, I'm Scott Slocum from Slocum in the Morning, here with a prepare to repair tip from RJ Graham Plumbing. When speaking with contractors or repair people, do you sometimes feel like they're more worried about selling you than trying to solve your issue? The licensed and insured experts at RJ Graham Plumbing start by identifying the problem so they can determine the proper solution, which is getting you results, not trying to sell you unnecessary upgrades. RJ Graham Plumbing offers headache-free warranties on parts and labor, providing an incredible value to their customers. Your satisfaction is their top priority. From friendly service, experienced technicians, fantastic warranties, and their it's fixed or it's free promise, RJ Graham Plumbing is your partner in home repair. This Prepare to Repair Minute is from RJ Graham Plumbing. For more home repair tips and tricks, tune into 1340 WJOL every Monday at noon or head over to preparetorepair.com. RJ Graham Plumbing is available 7 days a week at 708-743-7426 or online at rjgrahamplumbing.com.
Don't miss this year's Military History Weekend, hosted by the Lockport Township Park District. This historical event begins at 9:30 a.m. on both September 10th and 11th in Delwood Park, 199 East Woods Drive in Lockport. See encampments and battles from the Civil War, World War II, Vietnam, and new this year, World War I. All veterans are welcome to our Veterans Hospitality Tent on both days from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for free food, which is sponsored by Lockport VFW Post 5788, AARP, and Dot Foods. Stay for the World War II Radio Hour that goes live at noon. Then on Saturday at 4 p.m., enjoy a free concert featuring the band Fortunate Sons, a Creedence Clearwater Revival tribute band. And later, enjoy a free USO show with the Silver Bullet St. Louis Band at 8 p.m. The beer garden and food court will be open. Tickets are $10 for adults and $5 for children 12 and under, seniors 55 and older, and veterans. Purchase tickets at lockportpark.org. This event is sponsored by Citgo, Hanson Material Service, and Dot Foods. For more information, visit lockportpark.org.
It's been 9 long months, but high school football is back. This is State Farm agent Kevin Malloy, the proud sponsor of the Pigskin Preview Show, wishing all of our local teams the best of luck in 2022. Only time will tell how many champions we'll crown this year. Speaking of championship teams, if you're looking for a new insurance agency, why not consider the Malloy State Farm team, voted the best of Will County 4 years in a row. Give us a call at 815-463-5800 to hear what a championship team sounds like.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer, a big live streamer? No? And guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data and unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is hour number 2 of, well, gosh darn it, the best high school football talk show you can find on Thursdays at 6 and 8 anywhere in the Will County area. I dare any other show in the Will County area
to top us. First of all, Joe, we are the best looking show
yes,
in the area. There is no doubt about it. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to have you. Edgy Tim, along with the coach Joe Rodagero. Evan Bredesen, yes, the award-winning pregame show host, also spinning the dials, our MVP of this show, Joe. There is no doubt about it. Want to thank our sponsors, of course, State Farm agents John Wright and Joliet and Kevin Malloy in New Lenox. Like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there.
And again, the Friday night game of the week kicks off at 6:05 with Friday Night Lights, the award-winning pregame show hosted by Evan Bredesen, followed by 7:30 kickoff out at ATI Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Immaculate Conception, the Knights come to town to take on Joliet Catholic Academy, the Hilltoppers, coming off a 1-0 record. I almost said 1-0.
Oh boy!
Almost coming off a nice win on the road in Wisconsin. And joining us now is the head coach of your Joliet Catholic Academy Hilltoppers, Jake Jaworski. And Jaws. Boy, it sure looked pretty businesslike on paper on last Friday.
Yeah, it did. I was real happy the way our guys played. You know, replacing 16 starters, a lot of guys getting their real first varsity experience. You know, kind of going in some uncharted waters up in Waterford. Didn't really know exactly what to expect out of their team. You know, they did have a week 1 game, and we had some film on them. But, you know, went up there, and, you know, I liked the way the guys responded.
Jaws, you know, you gave me some stats the other day at school, and we talked about this. When was the last time a Hilltopper team had 8 ball carriers in a game to carry the ball?
Yeah, and that was definitely one of the things, you know, as we're trying to kind of navigate and, you know, kind of feel our way out here is you know, in a lot of my years coaching at Joliet Catholic, you know, we've had some, you know, 1 or 2 primary ball carriers and maybe 1 kind of receiver that we've targeted. And I want to say midway through the third quarter, up to that point, we had 8 different guys touch the ball. Yeah. You know, I think Junior Aaron Harvey, you know, led the team in carries with 11, you know, and usually we got a guy that's up in the 20s or something. And I think that just kind of speaks to the versatility, speaks to the depth that we have. We got a lot of moving parts offensively and, you know, guys that can catch the ball. And certainly TJ Schlager, our quarterback, was able to distribute the ball to a number of different guys. So, you know, I think that's the biggest thing early on in our season is just kind of forming an identity. Obviously, we want to run the ball. We want to be able to run the ball. But, you know, being able to use different guys is something a little bit new with this team.
You've been able to really dance that balanced dance exceptionally well, especially over the last few years. And I know certainly having the personnel to be able to pull it off is a big thing. But talk about the importance of that when you took over the job, and again, I'm probably going to phrase this wrong, so forgive me, but kind of still sticking with the older school power option mentality. But then obviously also understanding the fact that, you know, that also gives you a lot of opportunities to open things up and throw it a bit. How big of a focus on your mind was that coming in, Jake?
You know, I think it was important. I think it was important trying to be a little bit more versatile. But again, you know, you look at the 6 years or the 5 years I've been the head coach, kind of transitioning to offense. So I came over from the defensive coordinator position before I took the head job. So I kind of seen other offenses that were out there and gave us a lot of fit, you know, defensively to prepare for. So wanted to be able to just be a little bit more versatile, you know, And, you know, a lot of the stuff that we're still running, when people consider it, you know, you go from being under center to shotgun and people think like you've changed the whole offense. We're still running, you know, and we're still running our same double wing concept, just out of some different formations, which has opened up some things, throwing the ball a little bit. But that, you know, my offensive assistant staff has been a big part of that. And Dave Douglas, you know, nobody more knows offensive line play better than him, you know, and he's been able to help create some different formations, but using the same concepts. Craig Slowick, our quarterbacks coach, who played quarterback for us, has been a big part of that. And then adding Brett Boyder to the staff, got a great offensive mind. So, you know, a lot of that credit goes to our staff. And, you know, it's helped us. It's helped us for sure.
Speaking of TJ, you know, 5 for 8, during the game last week. Kind of, did you kind of expected that out of him, especially with his leadership and just getting his feet wet a little bit as a starting quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, we one thing that Waterford did do is they played kind of a deep cover three, kind of trying to prevent, I guess, the big play, in the pass game off our play action, but then also trying to maybe limit the big play in our run game. So we never really saw the secondary come down into the box, which we usually hit our big play action stuff. But what really impressed me was right before the half, I think we got the ball on our own, maybe 35 to 40-yard line with 28 seconds to go and no timeouts, and we were able to get into a field goal range. Where TJ hit a guy over the middle, and then he hit two passes right down the sideline, and next thing you know, we're right in field goal range. Last week, kind of the game kind of dictates what we're doing offensively, and we were able to get things going on the ground, so we didn't have to turn over to the pass game much. But in the coming weeks, that should be a weapon for us.
Going into Immaculate Conception, Jaws, I just see a team and a program that uses that smoke screen of small school maybe as well as anyone. They get a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to use it to every advantage they have going into a game, especially going to Joliet Catholic, playing Joliet Catholic in Joliet at Memorial Stadium. What can your kids expect out of the Knights, and kind of what are some things that they present this year that give you a little concern?
I mean, they're no surprise. I mean, like you mentioned, we know firsthand. We played them twice, and they beat us twice, so it's no surprise. The one thing that just stands out with Coach Kreft and his staff is just so well coached. They're well coached, and, they do things offensively. They're going to spread the ball around. They got some playmakers, a couple guys at receiver. Their quarterback distributes the ball well. Two really good running backs, and, an offensive line that maybe the best offensive line we'll see all year. They just work as a unit, and they're, like I said, just real well coached. So, we're going to have to prevent the big play defensively. Defensively, they get after it. They get a lot of guys that play both ways, but, you would think, okay, these guys are going to wear down, but they give you four quarters of everything they got. So it's kind of challenged our guys this week at practice. It's one thing we didn't see, last week. We saw a double wing team up in Wisconsin. So, being able to adjust to the speed of the game, especially our guys at the second level defensively, is something that we're going to have to catch on to real fast. We just got to limit their big plays.
Health-wise, you get out of last week okay?
Yeah, for the most part, from a physical standpoint, no injuries. What we have had is some guys sick this week.
Yeah, a lot of that going around, unfortunately.
Nothing with the C word or anything like that, but just seen it in the halls at school, just kids hacking and coughing and whatnot. So we should be all right tomorrow, though. We should get everybody back tomorrow, though.
It's that time of year. You got them together for a couple of weeks, and they all start spreading it back and forth. So
right,
the life of a coach and a teacher in the high school level. Joe, you remember those days?
Oh,
don't
sure.
you?
Sure, bring it home, and we just bring it home to our kids, right, Josh?
That's right.
Hey, I got one more question. Are you ready for your speech tomorrow?
Oh, yes, I am. Dialed in. Big day with the Hall of Champions during the school day. It's a pretty cool class that's pretty special to me in general. I think three of the people that are going in: Mike Koloje, J.R. Zerzinski, guys that I played with, guys that were in my wedding, Sam Tortorello, one of the females going in, known her since third grade. And then, what else can I say about, Jared Boss and Dave Douglas, guys that have had tremendous impacts on me as a student and player when I was at Joliet Catholic, but then also, working besides those guys for the last 16 years. So it should be a nice day. And, well-deserved for, all of them. Anne-Marie Hickey, volleyball player, while I was a teacher there, and one guy, Mike Grace, professional baseball player.
Right.
I remember my freshman year, Bart Kemp taking a van full of us to Wrigley Field to watch Mike Grace pitch for the Phillies against the Cubs. just really cool. So yeah, speech is ready. Should be good. Should be a good morning.
All right, good.
You want to fill us in on us non-insiders what tomorrow is at Joliet Catholic?
Oh, Joliet Catholic celebrates. Is this the 7th year or so, Jaws? I don't know. They have a Hall of Champions, and as Jaws was just talking about the induction, it's not because of COVID. It's not the same as it used to be. I kind of wish they'd go back to that, but I don't know if they ever will. It's during the daytime, and I'll be there because one of my former players, and I'm coaching them too now, I'm lucky enough to be on his staff. Jared is getting elected into the Hall of Champions, and again, knowing Dave Douglas, all these years too, and it's going to be a special day for me tomorrow for sure.
Like I said, I don't know why more schools don't do that. I really don't. I mean, there are a lot of high schools that could and should do what JCA has picked up and started doing, because I just think it's a tremendous way to honor those in the past. And again, it's about teaching history and this newer generation, they're not going to learn unless you try to teach them and who some of these people are and the impact that they've had on that program. So again, well done, JCA. Congrats. No doubt.
Yeah, should be great. I think this is year 8. Year 8.
Yeah.
And with our school's history, I mean, the people that are still going in year 8.
Oh God, you're going to be doing this for a long time. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. All right, my friend. Well, good luck tomorrow night.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Jaws. Good luck.
The game of the week here on 1340 WJOL. Thanks, Jaws. Jake Jaworski joins us. And again, that will be the game of the week, Joe.
And the guy we just got off the phone with will be definitely one of those guys someday going to that Hall of Champions also.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the referee shortage. And we're going to have a special guest on, Tom Hugg, one of the area refs, longtime ref in the state of Illinois. I've seen Tom everywhere, it seems like. And we're going to dig into this issue a little bit and interested to hear his thoughts and feedback on it. You are listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the 2-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
For a beautiful look that protects and stays clean, choose Dutch Boy Paint from Menards. Now all 11% off. Get quality products with smart technology like mildew-resistant coating, stain shield, and dirt-resistant paint and primer in the award-winning Dutch Boy Twist and Pour containers. Get 11% off everything, including the full line of Dutch Boy paints, now at Menards. Good through September 5th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. The name to know for heating and air conditioning too. Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Cooler temps are coming sooner than we think. Hi, this is Rick Kronholm, president of Johansson and Anderson Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now is the perfect time to install your new heating and cooling system with special offers from Johansson and Anderson and energy rebates. We're talking York and Johansson and Anderson rebates of up to $850 and utility rebates up to $450 on qualified heating and air conditioning systems. That adds up to $1,300 back for you, and you'll use less energy all winter. Invest in your home, get money back, and save money every month. Call the name you can trust for over 75 years, Johansson and Anderson. Call J&A today, sleep tight tonight. Johansson and Anderson, a York certified comfort expert.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Looking to start a new business or expand your current business with excellent visibility, traffic, and more? We have space available at Theodore Plaza Retail Center in Crest Hill. Lease 802 Theodore, a former restaurant with hood, grease trap, walk-in cooler, and more, featuring over 2,200 square feet for under $3,000 per month. Want more space? 804 Theodore is also available for lease and has over 3,800 square feet at just $3,840 per month. For information, call Mark at 815-546-1679.
Now's the perfect time to get rid of that junk car. Joliet You Pull It wants it and will offer you free same-day pickup and the highest price in the area guaranteed. Plus, they're paying top dollar for all of your scrap metal. Come dig into Joliet U-Pullet's expanded yard with over 1,300 foreign and domestic vehicles to choose from. And no entry fee. Get parts, get paid, or get both at Joliet U-Pullet, located 3/4 of a mile west of Briggs Street on Washington, next to the railroad tracks. Or go to JolietUpullet.com. Joliet U-Pullet, the way to save.
Think back to when you were a kid building a fort. The box the TV came in was your main gate.
Open sesame.
The vacuum box was a long hallway.
Oh!
And the refrigerator box was the tower.
I can see the whole castle from up here.
But for homeless people on the street, the box isn't a fort. Oftentimes, it's a home. Join Morningstar Mission's Box City event Friday, September 9th. It's a fun, yet eye-opening evening with activities and games, all before sleeping in a box, rain or shine, as if you were living on the streets. You'll also hear from residents at Morningstar, all to raise awareness and proceeds for the homeless community who can get fed, sheltered, and restored at Morningstar Mission.
It has changed me since day one, and right now I'm on my way out with housing, and I'm just looking forward to a fresh start.
For details and registration, go to morningstarmission.org. That's morningstarmission.org.
Are you dealing with fat taxes? Are you worried about what might happen if and when you do pay those taxes? Call Greg Severson at Cordano Severson and Associates. Greg has worked with many businesses in getting out of tricky tax situations. He has worked with the IRS for many years and with many different clients. He knows the players and how to navigate the system so that your business will get the best solution for your situation. So whether you're struggling to meet the next tax deadline or dealing with overdue or late tax payments, it's time to call Greg Severson. Greg will help your business now, but also help you set up a year-round tax plan, saving you this hassle year after year. He'll give you a free half-hour consultation to get started and give your business the attention it deserves. Call the firm that has provided quality tax advice for almost 50 years right here in the Will County area. Cordano Severson and Associates, a firm you can trust and your business can afford. Co-founder and proud member of the Will Buy Local Alliance.
The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen. Weekdays from 4 to 6. The Afternoon Rush is your recap of the day and a look ahead at what's to come. The top headlines from around Will County, news from around Illinois, what's happening in D.C. and around the world. More importantly, breaking news, traffic, and weather as you try to get home from work. The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen, 4 to 6, here on 1340 WJOL.
I'm waiting for you to introduce sports. Welcome back to week 2 of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM here along with the coach, Joe Rodagero and Evan Bredesen spinning the dials. You don't think I listen to your show, do you? Welcome back. We are thrilled to bring in a friend of our shows and someone we've both known on and off for a long time. And during the preseason coaches show, we've talked about it, and it's an issue that Joe just isn't going to go away anytime soon. And I thought, well, who better to talk to than a guy actually in the field working, and knowing Tom Huggy probably reffed 3 games today already. Joining us on the phone is Tom Hugg, a local area IHSA referee. And Tom, first of all, appreciate you joining us. And I bet you did at least 1 game today already, right?
I did do 1 game. I am driving home from us right now.
There you go. See? I told you.
You're unbelievable.
I told you. So Tom,
it's unbelievable. It's nice to see you guys. Joe, nice seeing you. It's been a lot of years we've known each other.
Yes, a lot. Tom actually played sophomore football for me at Providence.
There you go.
And he's still alive.
And we'll talk about some of those stories for the off.
Oh yeah, that's the podcast.
Or the Edgy After Dark show that we're going to have.
I should be in jail.
But Tom, I want to know from your perspective. We've talked about it, and the continuing seeing shortage of referees. There's just not a group. We're not getting an influx of younger guys whatsoever coming into this. From your perspective, from your opinion, and you're a guy obviously in it and have been in it for a long time. You even brought your son. I know your son's refereeing now as well. What's got to change? What's got to happen to get this thing back on track?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is, and they've started to address it, was the refs were woefully underpaid. And they've started addressing that, and they've given a substantial pay raise for the guys to make some money. I'm not going to tell people what we get paid, but I will say that what we got paid last year, nobody would believe that I was out there on a high school varsity game for that amount of money.
Wow.
The second part is the fans and even and to some extent the coaches. When we do get new guys in, and we've seen the horror videos where things happen, but when the refs are just constantly belittled or yelled at, I can't tell you how many guys I thought had a bright future being a referee throw their hands up and they walk away and they say, "I'm done."
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
I mean, when I first became a football assigner back in 2005 or 6, we had over 2,000 officials in the Chicago area. Presently today, we have 1,138.
Yeah.
So we are almost 50% down, and it forces a person like me, I'm 51 years old, and between doing youth ball, high school freshman, I basically work every day. My wife's like, "I'll see you at Thanksgiving."
Same.
I'm working over 200 individual football games because there's just not enough of us to go around.
Yeah. And again, as you mentioned, it's not for the great pay and the benefits. It's because you love the sport and you love to stay active and be out there. How do we attract a younger crowd, Tom? What else has to go into it? It's got to be more than just upping pay. And I know upping pay is a big part of it for sure, but I mean, we've got to hit that pool earlier and find a way. I'm just not sure how to do it.
We've tried. We've gone into career days at high schools. We've dealt with coaches. Again, I provide referees to 25 high schools around the Joliet area, and we've gone in. We've asked them to get us kids. There's just not an interest.
Yeah.
Honestly, the target audience is that kid that comes. I say kid, but the kid that comes out of college at 21 years old. That is the target audience because, the high school kid's trying to decide, where am I going to college? What am I going to do? I don't know if I can commit, and so on. But an even bigger target audience, and I'm appealing to all the parents that are listening right now. Become an official. Yeah. We'll use you, and I promise you I will use you, and you will still be able to see your kid's game because I will make sure you're off for your kid's game.
Yeah, that's important for sure. Tom, one thing that I had thought, and I'd thrown around a little bit, and I haven't heard too many thoughts on this. You mentioned that target age around college. Has there ever been any type of discussion or talk about maybe getting the various colleges involved and say, I don't know, college credit if they're taking any type of PE elective or requirement, and maybe some type of kind of spin-off program where they could take it in college and then hopefully you can maybe draw some, literally teaching a ref class, because you look at the various colleges in the state, and then you also throw the JUCO colleges involved in that as well. Is that maybe an untapped resource, possibly?
It is possibly an untapped resource, but we do offer, and we wrote curriculum through an organization called IACO, which helps support other organizations that various high schools and some colleges are using to try to drum up interest in becoming an official. Joe Rad there, he was an official at one time. I actually refed with him.
Yep.
So I just want to point that out. But there was something appealing, and people found it fun to go out, get some exercise, get some sun, enjoy the weather, be out there. We're not that drive is not there anymore for most people. And what I'm really afraid of is, I predicted this 3 years ago, and some people scoffed at my prediction, and here we are in it.
You did.
Within a few years, we're going to have a problem of there's going to be not enough officials for a Friday night game, and what we're going to have to do is have schools playing like in Missouri. They've authorized schools to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They've made varsity games possible 5 days a week.
Yeah, wow.
And
I believe
that's where we're heading.
Yeah. And again, Tom, there's already a handful of conferences, as you know, that are starting to move a couple of weeks here and there to Thursday. It doesn't solve the problem. It just kind of spreads the problem out. You're not adding to your pool of refs. You're just giving them more available dates to go ref, which for the guys that are into it and want to do it, that's fine, but you're still not attracting. If anything, Tom, you're you're almost revving up the burnout factor.
You are revving up the burnout factor. And I mean, it's hard too. So the average age 10 years ago was 42, 43 years old of a football official in the state of Illinois. 10 years later, what do you want to take a guess on what you think the average age of a football official is in the state of Illinois?
Oh, I'll say late 50s, early 60s.
It's anywhere from 58 to 60, depending on the data you find. Well, the harder part is, you get guys in their 50s and high schools. We used to have sophomore crews, and we were teaching these guys how to become officials, and they would move up into varsity positions. Well, there's no more sophomore crews, so you're asking. And when I use the average age of 58, over half the guys over 58.
Yeah.
We're asking them to work a double header on a Friday night, and honestly, their bodies are breaking down. Just this past weekend, we lost 5 or 6 officials in the Chicago area. A couple with illness, a couple with different kind of injuries, and we had one official that actually had his leg snapped, and he's going to have to go have surgery.
Wow.
And the people that seem to get hurt are the ones that are the workhorses that are saying, I don't want to see a problem. Those are the ones getting hurt. I mean, again, this falls on many people. The IHSA tries to recruit, but again, there needs to be a concerted effort to really and honestly recruit everybody.
Yeah, we were talking about that not too long ago, Tom. I mean, it's really one of those things where you got to get all the playmakers in a room. You really do. Mm-hmm. Your guys from your official associations in a room, IHSA in a room. And then the other thing I've heard some people bring up too when you talk about added pay and what have you. I don't know. I'm thinking the college programs and especially the pro programs, have them kick a little money towards the referee side and help with pay with refs, because let's face it, they're benefiting just as much as anyone else, because where are your potential refs and your potential players and recruits coming from? They're coming from the high school level. I think everyone's got to pitch in and try to get something done. And I don't know if that meeting can ever really happen, to be honest.
I wish it could. I don't have that answer, but for the college age kids or even the high school kids listening, I will just put it this way. My son's a sophomore in college now, and what he makes in the reffing season is his spending money for his entire year, so he's able to focus on his studies and not have to have a job.
Yeah.
So you can make enough money if you commit to it and you go out there and you want to be available and you want to work, and you have to take it seriously. It can be a grind sometimes. I'm not gonna deny it. I mean, I'm only 1 week into the season, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have possibly 13 more weeks to go, and I'm working every day and night, every day of the week.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Well, hey, Tom, God love you for doing it. I mean, again, you guys are, and it's funny, Joe. Friday night, when I was out at Cartmel and St. Rita, I thanked the refs and says, "Good to see you guys out here tonight." I truly meant it, Tom. I really did. It was like, hey, after all the the shortages and what these guys do and what they have to put up with, and another thing, Tom, we didn't even scratch the surface on travel. How many of these guys travel X amount of hours just to go cover a game on a Friday night? There's a ton of them.
Well, for a high school varsity game, all right. So, I'm not going to divulge where I'm at Friday night because I don't want everybody to know where I'm at Friday night. They'll find out tomorrow night. But on an average Friday night, if it's a 7:00 game, most varsity crews are there between 5 and 5:30.
Yeah.
We're going through pregame. We're talking about things, and factor in an hour, maybe an hour travel. So that's 4. If that game goes at 7, it's 10:00 at night. We go in and shower and do stuff, and then we might go out and have a beer or two and some wings and talk about what might have happened or what we could do better. I'm all in every weekend on a Friday night. I'm all in 8 hours, and that's just 3 hours on the field. But the other 5 hours are my travel and dealing with my crew. So we all love football that are still doing it, and my hat's off to everybody that sticks around and still does it with us. But we all do it. But again, it's just getting harder and harder and harder. My wife would joke, and let me say this because I think they're listening. If it wasn't for my family supporting me, I wouldn't be working as
without a doubt, 100%. Yep,
100%.
But let me say this: is my wife, she jokes, why do you go work on Friday night? You spend more money because, we might go out for salads before the game and then wings after than you make. And I'm like, well, it's just, it's boys' night out with a football game in the middle of it. That's what I try to tell her.
Yep.
But that's just what we've become. I mean, it's just, again, and all the workhorses, they're all, well over 50. And we don't have the young officials. And, if you go to Lincoln Way East or you go to JCA and you want to become an official, talk to your athletic director, because every school with the IHSA, and it doesn't, I'm not just saying for football, I'm saying for all sports. Every school has 2 free officials dues for a brand new official to join. So there's, I believe, 400 member schools. That's 800 potential new officials if every school could use their
free passes.
Free voucher.
Yeah.
Tom,
and it's just huge.
Tom, I have a question for you. I've sat up with you in the press box at Northern Illinois and down at U of I and watched state championship games when we weren't on the air. And it's always good to see you and talk to you. And I learned a lot about officiating just by talking to you, and you're watching the game, and it's interesting to me when referees do referees, I gotta ask this question, do referees get upset when other guys kind of critique them and kind of tell them, especially the younger guys, that they get upset with that stuff?
I think the younger guys will tend to get upset. I've been around, and Joe, you've known me for a lot of years. So when I was young, I took offense to it. Now that I'm sorry, let me put the in there.
yeah.
Now that I'm older, if I make a mistake and everybody can learn from it and people want to critique me or want to ask why I do it, I am all open on it. And it's funny you bring that up because I was going to say the IHSA has a YouTube channel and they put out a video called Football Focus. And myself and my umpire on my crew, Jeff, we work on all the clips and then we do the recordings with Sam Knox from the IHSA. And the whole goal of the Football Focus, well, we're hoping some people watch and say, hey, this is interesting, and we want to come play, but it's come ref, it's for the coaches, the players, the fans, and everybody else to learn what goes into officiating, what we're looking at, what is a foul, what isn't a foul. I love to use the term, oh my God, they hit helmets. I hate to tell everybody, every play, players hit a helmet. Yeah. We're looking for the egregious one where there was intent. You're playing a contact sport and that stuff happens, but there's just so much that goes into it. My wife asked me, because I'm retired now from the fire department, but she's like, when did you being an assigner and being a clinician, teaching the officials and doing all this become a full-time job? Because she's like, you're doing football year round. I miss the days when you did it 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And again, I have a great, I got a great support network and she understands and I love her to death for it. But again, that's just that, it's just where we are.
Gone. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Well, Tom, again, great to have you on. We're definitely going to keep your number, and we're going to check in with you from time to time during the year.
It sounds good. And then what I'm going to do is, Edgy, and Joe, I'll give you my email address.
Okay.
If you want to put it on your website, or you want to put it on WJOL's website, you want to put something, click to become a football official.
Yeah, for sure.
Every individual that emails me and says, I want to be a football official, I will point them in the right direction, get them into the new guy class, next summer. And let's build up these ranks again, because, I'm just worried that in 5 years, we're going to have half the officials that we have now, and that means half the Friday night games are going to have to move.
No doubt.
Right.
You got it, Tom.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Tom. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, it was nice talking to you.
All right,
yes,
you
for
too.
sure.
Tom Hug joining us, IHSA official. Great stuff from him.
Yes.
Step aside and take a break. When we come back out to Reed Custer and talk to Gavin Johnson, you are listening to the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports.
Who wants a career that's in demand with good pay, benefits, and is right in this area? You do. All you need is 1 month of training to get licensed in CDL truck driving. And Advantage Driver Training is here to make it happen for you. You've heard all the advantages of getting your CDL truck driver's license from Advantage Driver Training, like choosing from day or evening classes, taught by experienced truck drivers with individual attention in small class sizes, in a Secretary of State approved CDL school. This is a whole new career in in just 4 weeks with one low price and no hidden costs. Take advantage of Advantage Driver Training's huge new facility for your future. Don't wait any longer. Advantage Driver Training has always been your best option for CDL truck driving school. So what are you waiting for? Get on the road to your new career. Call 815-725-5581 or go online to advantage-drivertraining.com. Advantage Driver Training, going the extra mile for you.
Hey, if you have a question about a gun, new or old, Freddie Bear Sports has the answer because they're the gun experts. Plus, they're the best place to shop for new firearms. Freddie Bear Sports is veteran-owned, a Glock law enforcement blue label dealer, which means they offer special pricing to military and law enforcement. Now, if you need cash, Freddie Bear Sports guarantees nowhere will offer more money for your guns. They give top dollar for your rifles, shotguns, pistols, antique guns, and more. In fact, they're the most trusted gun store around and have been in business for over 40 years, right in downtown Tinley Park. So avoid the hassle of shopping around. Just go straight to Freddie Bear Sports. And don't forget, if it's time for a new firearm, you gotta check out their website at FreddieBearSports.com to search their new firearm inventory, where you can easily purchase online. Freddie Bear Sports. They're open 7 days a week at 17250 Oak Park Avenue in downtown Tinley Park or at FreddieBearSports.com.
It's a tradition. It's a passion. It's a way of life. High school football in Will County runs through the blood of sports fans everywhere.
Two of the best programs in Illinois high school football. Lockhorns Friday night, 15-time state champion Joliet Catholic entertained 5-time state champion Immaculate Conception. It's all brought to you by Tire Tracks USA this Friday night at 7:30. High school football on WJOL and WJOL.com.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen. Weekdays from 4 to 6. The Afternoon Rush is your recap of the day and a look ahead at what's to come. The top headlines from around Will County, news from around Illinois, what's happening in D.C. and around the world. More importantly, breaking news, traffic, and weather as you try to get home from work. The Afternoon Rush with Evan Bredesen, 4 to 6, here on 1340 WJOL. Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. We are in the final lap of the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Joe?
Yes, sir.
Going out to the phone lines, joined by the head coach of your Reed Custer Comets, Gavin Johnson. Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
So are the kids in bed now, or like is that already done, or are you getting close to that?
My kids,
Yes.
you know what? It's the craziest thing. My 4-year-old stays up with me until I go to bed. So he doesn't have a bedtime. We're terrible parents.
So he's watching.
2-year-old's close.
He's watching our Cola tape at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, he usually is. Right now he's watching Penn State, and
There you
yes.
go.
We are in the
We
studio
are in the
too.
studio
So-
too. Yep.
Nice. Pretty hard to argue with the results from Friday.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good just to get out there, finally, hit somebody from a different team, even though they're the same colors as us, but finally a different team. And then just the way that we came out, that's exactly how we wanted to start the season. Couldn't be any happier, really.
How was it playing on the turf for the first time?
Oh, it was great. The kids, I mean, we've noticed they've looked faster this summer on it, and then just once the game hit, it's even, we're way faster. So the kids like it. They got some turf burn, but they don't complain about it, and they love it.
Is it one of those things where they kind of have to go through it for a couple of times in a live game, and number one, get a feel for it. Number two, you mentioned turf burn, and then you wonder why those guys have tape on their elbows and those Band-Aids in different spots. Is Is that kind of a learning process right now?
Yeah, it is, and we all the time we got kids going over to the trainer to get taped up during practice. Finally, I had the trainer come over and say, "Guys, you got to start getting taped up. Like wrap up any scar, scab you have, because it's going to pop open and you're going to be out."
Yeah.
But we're figuring it out as we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess those are rich people problems to have, huh?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So here's what I want to know: how do you wind up playing Arcola?
You know what? It's actually a kind of a strange story.
I love strange stories.
We originally were scheduled to play Tuscola.
Okay.
We just had a week 2 opening. I mean, very similar. They actually played each other last week.
Yeah, the Cola Wars.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, my AD comes down to me. He's like, "Hey, Tuscola really wants to play their rival Arcola, and this is week 1."
Yep.
But they said they've already talked to Arcola. They will play you week 2 now, and that fills your opening for week 2. Because we also had an opening for week 2, and you had to go back and do your research. Like, well, what do they got coming here? And really, Tuscola was the ones that set us up because they wanted to play their rival. So it kind of fell into our lap.
Well, that rivalry is like over 100 years old or something. It's ridiculous. It's one of the oldest rivalries in the state.
Very cool. You can just see the people lined up along the fence. Both times that we have played them. It's got to be a pretty cool atmosphere down there.
Gavin, I know with the score in the game last week, I think you expected a quick start and you got it, and everything seemed to flow pretty good. But as all good coaches do, they come in on Monday after watching the tape, or whenever you guys on Saturday watch the tape. What are some of the things you'd like to see cleaned up before tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just some communication stuff. I call the defense, so I'm always looking at how our alignment and our assignments are. So making sure, Arcola runs a lot of different formations, that we have some automatic checks and everything like that. So we hammered them pretty hard on just formations and getting aligned, and if they shift, and what if they do this and what if they do that. So those are kind of some of the big things. And then our special teams, we really tried to clean up. We had a block PAT, we had another bad snap, and then we missed a PAT. So we missed 3 of our PATs, and at some point in time, those special teams can definitely come back to haunt you. So really tried to clean up some of those as well.
So when you're a young Kohler coming up in high school, and you're
a comet.
A comet. Excuse me. When you're a young comet coming up through the system, and you're playing in this area, and again, there's no denying how great the football is in this area. Who was that one team you always wanted to play against but didn't have a chance?
Back when I was in school, team I didn't get to play against, never had the chance. I don't think it would have went very well, but I always wanted to play against Joliet Catholic.
See?
I mean, they were the team,
that.
Yep. I think we maybe saw them at like a 7-on-7 one time, and I thought that was pretty neat, But that's the team that everybody wants to beat, and that's the way you look up to. So why not go for the big dog?
And then I'll scramble a little more memory cells for you. Back in your high school there when you were playing, who was maybe the best player you saw during that era, or played against? We'll say during that era.
Well, playing against would probably have to be Nick Nasty from Plano.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny. My wife is a really good friend. She went to college with Nick Nasty and his wife, so we actually hang out with them here and there.
No kidding. Tell him I said hello for sure.
Yeah, for sure, I will.
I had dealings with him with his recruiting and stuff. Great kid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hilarious guy too.
One of the top names ever.
The
I was just going to say that's a football name.
One of the top names ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Mike Golick said something about that on ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a football name.
No doubt.
But then the Durgo kid from Morris when I was growing up, too.
Doubt.
I mean, that Morris JCA game was one of the best games I've ever seen. So.
Oh, you were there, huh?
Yeah, I was, unfortunately we weren't playing at that point in time, so I went to it.
Yeah, that there are certain games that are always in this area, and that's one of them, Joe.
Yep.
That game was just unbelievable, and the whole Durgo era, and I still talk to John. We had John on the show a couple of years ago.
Yes,
and doing really well. So it's
cool.
It's great to get caught up. Yeah, for sure. I love the road trips. I love you guys getting in a yellow rocket and going a couple hours away and taking on an opponent you've never faced. Good time right about now for you to get on the road a little bit and just bond a little bit more with your guys tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're kind of just treating it like a playoff game atmosphere. There's no prelim game or anything. We're going in style down this year. We're taking a charter bus.
There you go.
The air conditioning.
It's that booster club.
That's right. So
it's all that taco money.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it, and it's hopefully the end all goal is to play down there close to Champaign anyway. So why not drive right by it in that thing? So yeah, we're looking forward to the trip, and we were lucky enough to have 5 home games this year. So after this trip, we really don't have too many far road trips this year.
That's awesome. Well, timing's everything, my friend. You know that.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
we're hoping this is a season and the timing works out for your favor. We'll maybe see you drive down the Champaign one more time after this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so too. It feels right, but obviously, as you guys know, you got to have everything go your way.
A lot of luck.
You got to have a lot of luck as well.
Yep,
no doubt. Gavin, appreciate it, my friend.
Good luck, Gavin.
And we'll be in touch soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again for having me. I'll enjoy it.
You bet. Gavin Johnson joining us from Reed Custer, and
it's funny you mentioned about the kids or the players there who he would like to play against and who he thought what he's doing now at Reed Custer with that group of kids that he has now. Those young kids are going to be talking about these guys in 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
They're at the games.
It's exciting for sure. It's exciting to see that program turn around because, as you know, Joe, for a long time there was just nothing going on there, and to see to go from that to really ramping up and the community ramping up and supporting, it's what we love to cover. I mean, it's so much fun. And again, Reed Custer home game is on the schedule for 1340 this year, so. We are looking forward to making that trip down and covering that ball game for sure. Is that Coal City? Is that who you guys are coming?
Wilmington, I think they're playing.
Should be a great game.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. So, again, about ready. We're going to wrap it up. All right. Week 2 in the books. We will be back, God willing, Joe.
Yep.
We'll be back for week 3. By the way, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Baltimore 3, Cleveland nothing. Final.
Like
we
I
did
said,
it, Joe. You and I did it.
Yeah,
we turned the tide.
We can't lose more than 6 games.
Want to thank the coaches for joining us. Want to thank you for listening. This has been the Week 2 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Good night, everyone.
Summer vehicle maintenance includes checking coolant and the radiator. That's a job for Jiffy. Stop by Jiffy Lube for a free radiator